Halloween.
Forever.
Good evening, Steven. Save a little bit of that wet one to slurp on until we get into the show out there. Hey, are you ready for one?
I am prepared for one.
All right, here goes. So this family's checking into a hotel, right? Got a husband, wife, two little kids. The husband, father, walks up to the concierge and he says, "Hey, I'm checking in to the room. No disrespect, but this is, it's not a particularly upscale hotel. I'm here with my family. I just want to make sure that the porn is all disabled in the room."
Mm-hmm.
And the concierge says, "It's just regular porn, you sick fuck."
Mm-hmm. Yes. I've heard this one. I enjoy it.
Okay, welcome, boys and ghouls, to a very, I don't know, hotel-y minisode of Halloween's Forever. I'm Brian.
And I'm your maitre d', your concierge.
The word I was trying to think of was like the adjective version of hospitality, but it's hospitable.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. That's not gonna sound right. I don't know what I'm talking about.
You could have said inhospitable.
Inhospitable would have made perhaps better sense, but here we are. Nonetheless, the deed is done, and we are on to a little mini-sode that has some hotel shit going on in it. That's why the joke was hotel related. See, if you're new to the show, the joke usually has something to do with the topic or something to do with the movie. What movie, you might ask? Well, hold your fucking horses. We'll talk about it in a hot second. But first of all, Steven, I know it. I seen it already. I saw you do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're slurping on a wet one, ain't you?
I am slurping on a wet one. And I got...
What kind of wet one is it?
It's a brown wet one. And...
Oh, my least favorite kind.
Well, that's your problem, not mine. Because I actually... I enjoy brown wet ones. Because what I have, and it's themed for the episode, because it comes from local brewery Helltown. That's it.
But of course.
Yeah, so we're doing some Hell stuff tonight. So I said, let's get a Hell beer. I got Helltown Mischievous Brown Ale.
Yep. I haven't had that one in a while. Used to drink a lot of that back in the day, especially back when they used to have it on cask. Or at least on tap. I think they had on cask quite a bit, actually, over at the Piper's Pub down the south side of beautiful Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But I haven't had it in a while. How's it drinking?
It's drinking just fine. It's the same. I don't think they've really changed it much over the years. So yeah, it's just a nice 5.5% brown ale. It's nutty, it's chocolatey, but it's not like overpoweringly sweet in any way. And we're having a nice stretch of cold rainy days, which is how I like
we are
how I like to get into dark beers. Cold rainy days is the best.
Yeah. That is true. I will say I love a brown ale. I just like our friend Dan just joined us in the Discord here in the chat and said he had to walk into the phrase. He joined us a little bit late, a couple minutes here, and had to enter to the phrase brown wet one. And I take exception to the phrase. And then I was going to say, you know what? It's not that bad. But then when you said nutty, which is a quality descriptor, but it just reminded me of that scene in Austin Powers where he's drinking the liquid shit.
Yeah.
And it's just unappetizing. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's a good motion picture. It's unappetizing.
Good joke. Disgusting for everybody.
Yeah, I remember watching that for the first time, just pissing my pants.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. As a youth, however old I was when that came out, I don't fucking know. It's probably like I don't know. When did that come out? 96, I'm going to say.
I don't know. We were under 18. That's where I can put it.
I was 12, 13 years old, so I was just dying. And
you drank a fat guy's
parents
poop.
being just very gross. Just my mom was going to vomit. Well, I am sipping on a wet one. Excuse me, slurping on a wet one. It's very wet. It's very different in color. It is not brown at all. It is quite pale.
Mm-hmm.
And I am drinking on this here Prima Light. It is from the Victory Brewing Company in beautiful downtown Pennsylvania, which we have had. I've drank a number of their beers on the podcast, and one of them is Prima Pils, one of my all-time favorite beers. They've tweaked it a little bit in recent years, not quite as good as they used to be, but they just came out with this thing called Prima Light, which is essentially I would guess just quite a watered down version of Prima Pils. They're going for a light version, 110 calories. Usually when you call out the number of calories on the can, you can expect it to be quite thin. And I'll tell you, compared to Prima Pils, it certainly is, but it's got a little bit of body. The foam retention's not bad. Got a lot of character to it. Let me get a live sip. It's a little on the thin side, but it's a 4.2 110 calorie beer. So I'll forgive it a little bit. This is what I would consider to be just an absolute supreme crusher. On a hot day, you're outside, maybe you're throwing a couple of bags of corn around trying to get them in some holes. Maybe you're flipping the Frisbee around. Maybe you're throwing a baseball, grilling some hot dogs, whatever you're doing. And this is going to come out on Memorial Day. Maybe that's what you're doing. This would be a hell of a crusher for that scenario. It's going to be rainy and cold here, so none of that's going to happen. But but I like it, and it's wet, and it's crushable.
I would still, do some cornholing while slurping on a brown wet one.
Sure you would. I'm sure you would. And I could tell you had something you were going to say because you had that little grin on your face the whole time. Wait for me to stop talking so you could say something disgusting.
Yep. That's how it works.
Well, all the disgustingness out of the way, at least for now. We do got a couple other things we got to do at the top of the show before we kind of jump onto our feature presentation for the evening. We are going to talk about our movies for our upcoming June Showdown episode that'll be coming up real quick here. We do have an extra Monday in the month of May, so we'll have one more episode here in May, and then the following Monday.
Nope. This is it.
The 31st was 31st is Sunday.
Yeah.
The 1st is Monday, so I was wrong. Yeah. This is the last episode of the month. So our very next one will be our Showdown episode. If you recall, if you listened last week, you heard Robot Steve from the future past. He's so annoying. He's so frightening. He doesn't wear a shirt. He announced to us that the winner of the May Showdown topic, if you recall, we had spooky books in movies, favorite Hitchcock flicks, and least intimidating killers. Least intimidating killers ran away with it. So that is what we're going to be talking about for June. We're going to announce our topics here in a second, but you might be asking yourself, what the hell are you talking about? Topics and showdowns and things of that nature. Well, every Monday we drop some spicy sweet content for you on the internet. First Monday of every month, we kick off our Showdown episode. Our Showdown consists of me, Steve, and a guest, or sometimes our collective Patreon community. We each pick a movie associated with a particular topic. That topic comes from a big old spinny ass wheel. We spin it 3 times. We get 3 potential topics. They could be tropes. They could be performers. They could be subgenres, whatever. Put them out on the social medias for our friends and listeners to vote on. They pick one. That's how we get the topic. And then that's how we pick our movies associated with them. And then whoever, of course, wins the showdown, whoever gets those shoulders on the mat, 1, 2, 3, ring that bell. Of course, they get to take home that Son of a Bitch Championship strap for the month, but also they get to pick the punishment for the next episode. So Least intimidating killers. This should be fun. It should be all over the place, I would guess. Do you want to tell the boils and ghouls at home, first of all, who our guest is going to be for June?
Yes. So June will be our 5th or 6th anniversary. We don't know because we don't pay attention.
One of those.
It's one of the two.
Yeah, one of those. I think it might be. Did we start in 19 or started in 20?
I honestly don't
this
remember.
This would be so easy to find out.
It totally would be. So, like, yeah.
We just refuse to do it.
We just don't care enough.
I could literally just open up Apple Podcasts and scroll back to the beginning.
Yeah. But, yes. But, one of the characters that's been along for pretty much the whole ride and has been a guest on the show multiple times will be joining us for that anniversary episode. And it will be Bigfoot Ben.
Big old Bigfoot Ben, a.k.a. Big Top Ben, a.k.a. Big Ween Ben. So he's going to be joining us here. By the way, Steve, we were both wrong. It was 2021.
Okay.
Correct answer was 2021. So we are, this will be our 5-year anniversary of doing this old stanky ass old podcast. So we're going to have Bigfoot Ben on to celebrate with us. We'll drink some beers. I'm sure maybe we'll go back and we'll have some spices and some spooky snacks and things like that. We used to always do a snack segment. We haven't done that in a hot sec. But we'll celebrate 5 years with Bigfoot Ben. I understand Bigfoot Ben has a pick for his movie. Is that correct?
He does indeed. Okay. And I was kind of surprised, but he's right on target with it. He went back all the way to 1971 and picked the original, not the Crispin Glover remake, but the original Willard.
Oh, interesting.
And I think he's being more clear that it specifically the character of Willard and not the rats he controls, but just the character.
Boy, it has been an age since I saw that movie, so I don't remember a whole lot about it. I remember the rats. All right, we'll go back and check out Willard and talk about the titular character Willard from 1971 and perhaps why he is not particularly intimidating. Steve, you won the last showdown, correct?
I won.
No. The Patreon did, but. Yeah, but you won, between you and I, you won the last one.
Right, yeah. I came in second for that, and I was the previous champion before then. So, I do believe it is right that I go next.
Of course. It is, what do they call it? What do they call it when the king can fuck your wife whenever he wants?
Prima nocta.
Prima nocta, yeah, it's something along those lines.
And boy, am I about to prima this nocta really hard because I am going merely 1 year ahead from Willard to 1972 with a little film starring Janet Leigh and DeForest Kelley, The Night of the Lepus.
Yeah. This is a notorious film, a really fun film.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to spoil it. If you don't know what Night of the Lepus is, it's within the realm of possibility you don't. If you're a horror fan, longtime horror fan, I'm sure you do. Maybe you haven't watched it, but you know what it is. It's genuinely a fun film as far as I'm concerned. This movie comes up quite often, coincidentally, on the Monster Party podcast, which is another one of my favorite podcasts, which I think I'm going to be a guest on once again. I was a guest a few years ago, and I'm going to guest on here sometime soon. I don't know. We haven't scheduled it, but I'll let everybody know. It is this is a pun, and I understand that. It is a bit of a pet topic on their show, Night of the Lepus, as well. I like this movie. I tried to show it to my nephew.
Yeah.
Perhaps when he was like a couple years too young. And he thought it was funny, but he also was a little scared. I was like, all right, maybe we wait a couple years
sure
to watch this, but it's a lot of fun. All right. Night of the Lepus. And I assume what we're going to be talking about as far as not scary things is the monsters.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I won't say what they are for those of you who have not experienced it. Go out and watch it. You're going to have a lot of fun.
I did have like another pick that was like on my mind for, you know, most of the week, that I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then it just, I don't know, it just clicked into my brain, and I think it maybe was Ben picking Willard that reminded me, because I was like, man, rats are scary. There's got to be something that's not, and then but my original pick that was going to be Human Centipede 2, because in that film it's just the shortest, fattest, you know, baldest incel.
Yes, it's the Incel Chronicles. If you remember of those, and I would almost say regrettably, I've seen all of the Human Centipede. Well, no, because there's more than 3, right?
No, there's only
only 3.
Yeah, there's only 3, unless you want to count the Human Sexipede, which is just pornography, Brian.
No. Well, and I do, because it is canon. No, I thought that there was another one that just like, I was just like, nah, I'm not interested. After 3, man, 3 really, I got all I can get. I got all I can get from 3.
Yeah.
2 is I mean, probably technically the best movie of the 3, although it's very unpleasant.
Yeah.
3 is absolute dog shit. The first one is the first one. That wouldn't have been a bad pick, because he's not intimidating. You feel like you could just push him down a hill and he would roll forever.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't remember what his name is, but the antagonist in that movie. Speaking of dorks that you could definitely beat up, I'm gonna go with a little flicky. I did not think I was gonna be the newest technically movie but I'm still going all the way back to the year of our Lord 1983, and I'm talking about one Mr. Norman Bates in Psycho 2 from 1983. This is a bit of a cult. It has quite a cult following. It was widely panned on its release, famously, but has developed quite a cult following, as has the third one, weirdly enough, in I guess recent years, maybe even recent decades. Norman Bates' character is take what you kind of imagine from the first movie, in terms of, you know, what you remember about Norman Bates, and then make him less intimidating than even a skinny small child. Anthony Perkins is great in it. He acts his balls off, as he always does. But it's supposed to take place like 20 or 25 years later. And now he's kind of a bumbling old man.
Yeah. I remember liking Psycho 2. Psycho 4.
It is. It's fun.
4 was one I did not like.
I can't remember 4. 4 is escaping me right now. I don't have any reference points in my head for 4. But Psycho 2, I remember watching as a kid and going like, I like the movie okay. And I won't get into why I picked this yet, because that'll be part of my argument. But he's distinctly less threatening than he is in the first one, which is kind of an interesting take, because he is, you know, decidedly not particularly threatening for the vast majority of the first movie. Anyway, all right. Just as a recap, we're going to have our old pal Bigfoot Ben on for the June Showdown. We're going to talk about least intimidating killers. Ben is going to talk about Willard from Willard, 1971. Steve is going to talk about the quote-unquote monsters in Night of the Lepus from 1972. And I'm going to talk about our old pal Norman Bates from Psycho 2, 1983. So that should be a lot of fun. Also, little bit of a change coming up to I don't want to say the format of the show. It's going to remain widely the same, but and our release schedule is going to stay the same. But we're going to make a couple of tweaks here going into our 6th year of doing this podcast. In the past, for those of you who are loyal listeners, we appreciate you. Obviously, you know that we do our Showdown episode on the first Monday of the month. Then we do typically, depending on, you know, what happens with scheduling guests, if they're going to join us for the punishment episode, but we usually do the punishment episode the very next Monday, and then we'll do a series of mini-sodes throughout the month for the remaining Mondays. We also do a Patreon exclusive podcast series, which we release an extra episode every month, which we'll talk about here in a hot second. So if you're new to that, just chill. We'll tell you in a hot sec. But so we typically record 5 times a month, which, as you might imagine, recording 5 times a month for 5 consecutive years. We haven't done the 5th one forever, but at least 4 times a month for 5 consecutive years can be a scheduling challenge, especially as we plenty of other things happening in our lives. So here's kind of what we decided. We also used to do really long marathon showdown episodes, if you recall. Some of them, we had some that were over 4 hours long.
Yeah.
Which is a little chaotic. And we got feedback from everyone that, like, hey, maybe chill. Maybe we don't need 3 or 4 hour episodes, but we would then break those up and release them in subsequent weeks. We're going to start doing that every month. So we are going to do a showdown episode that is going to be broken up into 3 episodes. So we'll do our nice long form, go as long as we want showdown episode, 3+ hours, however the hell long we want to. And then we'll just break it up into more, digestible episodes, basically by movie, because we talk about typically 3, sometimes more, depending on if it's a Regal Ruckus or something like that. Every, we'll break it up subsequent months. So basically we'll have 3 movies on the average month. We'll talk about each one of them for the first 3 Mondays of the month. And then that last Monday of the month, once we revealed who took home that son of a bitch and championship strap for the month, we will then do a punishment episode after that. If on those off chance or in those off months where we have a 5th Monday in that month, we'll tack on another little bonus minisode on there as well. But this is going to not really change things too dramatically for your listening pleasure. It's going to be the same, same content every Monday. However, it's going to make our lives a little easier because we're only going to record 3 times a month instead of 5. So most other podcasters, when we say we do content every single month, every single week, plus another episode on top of that, they're like, you're a crazy person. And we are. And most of that work falls on Steve with all the editing and stuff. So that'll make our lives a little bit easier. So that's going to start in June with this showdown. So we'll break the showdown for June up into 3 weeks. So anything to add? That makes sense. I think I only rambled slightly and got the general point across. Anything else I'm forgetting, Steve?
Just it's not going to really change anything over on the Patreon. Is that we'll continue to still do that regular monthly episode for the Patreon. Yeah. And all of our patrons don't have to worry about any changes to what they're currently getting, aside from just because we'll only be recording 3 times a month. You will only be able to get into the Discord to watch episodes happen live for 3 times rather than 5 times a month. So that's true. That's kind of the only change that's going to come for the Patreon. Other than that, if there's extra free time or something, in that time that we're not recording, I don't know, maybe an opportunity for an interview or something comes up. And if that happens, it might just be me talking to a director or something, and it'll just be like a short episode that's on the Patreon only. So if those opportunities happen, it would only happen on Patreon, just something small and quick and something we don't have to schedule too much around. But it would just be like exclusive content for them rather than doing full episodes that go up on our regular feed. And then maybe that would get released later down the line. But yeah, other than that, no changes to the Patreon, which is patreon.com/HalloweenIsForever.
Speaking of the Patreon, give me your money. Give it to us, all your dollary dues, guys. Here's how it works. Like Steve said, you go over to patreon.com/HalloweenIsForever. You give us $5 a month and you get a bunch of other stuff. In addition to, being able to join us here live in the Discord for all of our recordings, and getting, extra votes for the topics, for the showdown topics and all that stuff. Like Steve said, you get that extra Patreon exclusive podcast series that releases every month. We also have a vast backlog that you can go back and listen to. Right now, we are doing God Is Not Forever, a cinematic roadmap to killing God's dumb ass. Here's the thing. I've been trying to, every year, I have a New Year's resolution. It's not new. It's not a new Year's resolution. It's a New Year's resolution that is recycled every year, and that is to kill God. That's what I've been trying to get done for a while. I've been unsuccessful up to this point. So Steve and I are what was the phrase that you coined, Steve?
Cinenauts.
Cinenauts, going down the cinematic rabbit hole of the collective consciousness and heaven and hell and all those lovely things, seeing if we can watch a bunch of weird ass movies that can give us clues about how we can get this job done. We do 10 episode series. We just did a movie where Christopher Walken is a murderous angel. That was a lot of fun. The Prophecy, not to be confused with Prophecy, which is Giant Mutant Bear. We also did an entire series where Steve made me watch all the Fast and the Furious movies. And our friendship has never healed completely. There are still scars from that series. And then we did one called Youth Group Is Forever, where we watched a bunch of weird ass right wing Christian propaganda horror movies and made fun of those.
Those do not teach you how to kill God.
No, they don't. I mean, maybe indirectly. We might need to revisit. And then Steve, they definitely don't teach you about Cool Heaven,
nope.
which is our leading kind of plan and angle right now. If we were rolling out the map, a la Macaulay Culkin and Home Alone, and we had our booby traps set up, one of the biggest kind of sectors of the map would be Cool Heaven, which is something we're working on. But you'll have to go over and check out the Patreon page to learn about that. And then what was the other one for it? Oh, 90s Is Not Forever. All these fucking weird ass 90s comedies with horror ties to them. So you've got about 40 freaking episodes that are 2+ hours long in there that you get access to in the backlog when you subscribe. So give us your stinky little smelly monies.
Stinky money.
All right. Anything else, Steve, before we got all that shit up out the way?
Yeah.
You want to get into this movie?
Yeah. I mean, just a little, side track from, the Patreon to this is in recording this, I pitched you like 3 movies because I had a pretty good movie watching week this week. I watched.
Yeah. I caught onto that. Yeah. You were like, what do you want to do? Here's 90 options. Yeah. I was like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah. So I threw a whole bunch of options at Brian because I watched a whole bunch of good horror films, and Brian picked this one that we'll talk about. But the other ones that he didn't pick will get written up as recommendations on the Patreon. So you join there, find out what else I watched.
Yep, and you get the 31 days of horror watching in October, all kind of fun stuff over and on the Patreon. This one, the one I picked, and I will I want to read your descriptions because you sold me pretty, I was hooked immediately on this. You said, what do you want to do this week? We talked about Buffet of Infinity, which I still really want to watch.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that yet. Wild Experimental, basically 90s Dead Arcade Project, which is a project Steve and I worked on, Craft Beer World, some ways back.
I meant to say 90-minute Dead Arcade Project because it's like it's what.
Oh, I thought you meant 90s, like the decade.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah, no. I mean, it still does fit that description as well. But it is definitely like if we were given an infinite budget on Dead Arcade, this is the movie we would have produced.
Okay, I like that. I'm gonna watch it. Faces of Death. You just said a good serial killer horror, and then the movie we're going to talk about tonight They Will Kill You, Bonkers, Tarantino, Exploitation, Hong Kong, Raid, Dread-like.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, yes. I said, you have me at Bonkers in Hong Kong. So that is what we're going to talk about from this very year, directed by, I'm going to struggle with this one.
Mhm.
It's Kirill Sokolov.
Yeah.
Kirill, right? Sokolov's easy. Kirill?
I don't know, but I would say, I would go with Kirill Sokolov.
Yeah, Kirill Sokolov. He's a Russian gentleman, and he directed a movie called They Will Kill You, which is on the streamings right now. I watched it on Amazon Prime. I think it's out there on Plex. You can rent it. You can buy it if you want. Actually, this would be one I'm going to spoil a little bit about the way I feel about it, but this is something I would definitely explore a physical copy of.
Mhm.
And most of my movies are old ones, so having a brand new movie is a bit of a rarity. They Will Kill You. So, this guy apparently kind of came on the scene during the Black Nights Film Festival, which is it takes place in Estonia, which is back in 2018. This is where like a lot of, I think, Western audiences started to, hear a little bit about Kirill Sokolov. Have you seen any of his other movies? I have not. So
I definitely was made aware of him, back in that time, because I was aware of the film that got popular, which is called, in America, it's called Why Don't You Just Die? And I cannot read Russian, but the original title is like Papa Sodinki.
Okay.
That's my best approximation of Russian. I'm sorry if I get it wrong.
Sure.
But it's kind of about like a family coming together, trying to kill their own dad, I believe is the premise of that film.
Okay.
So yeah, it looked very stylish. Like I'd seen a trailer for it and everything, and it's all in Russian. I believe actually They Will Kill You is his first English language film.
That's what I could tell just poking around online. I was like, I'm pretty sure. And whenever I looked this up before I watched it, I expected this to be in Russian.
Mm-hmm.
So when it was in English, I was a little bit surprised. And I think you're right. I think this is his first English language film.
Yeah. Because he has another film between this and Why Don't You Just Die, which is also mostly just Russian actors and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was aware of Why Don't You Just Die, but I didn't have it connected to They Will Kill You until I looked into They Will Kill You. Because like obviously you watch this film and you go, all right, this guy knows how to move a camera. He knows how to do things very stylishly, even if they feel, somewhat derivative of Tarantino sometimes. But still, it's really exciting to watch. I looked him up and I was like, oh, it's that guy from that other movie that I wanted to watch and never did yet, because it never got like a real good, proper release to watch.
Yeah. This is a really interesting movie, with I want to say it's a breakout star, because she's been in a lot of things, but I don't know that she was like this type. I'm looking through her filmography. Zazie Beetz, who is, I saw her in Atlanta first, Donald Glover's show, and then she's been in a ton of stuff, but smaller roles, supporting roles, or I guess dramatic roles.
Yeah, she's in a bunch of she's been in a bunch of stuff. The first place I saw her was as it was a comic book movie. It was in Deadpool 2. She plays a character by the name of Domino. I don't know if you know enough about X-Force for that to ever care or matter to you.
Sure don't.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure don't.
The next time I saw her was later that year. She was in a movie called Slice, which has Paul Scheer in it. But she was the star of Slice, and it's a pretty okay, like, supernatural movie. It's a little unfocused, but I think I don't know. I still think it's a good watch. But yeah, it just I don't know. It gets a little lost in itself. But then yeah, she was in the Twilight Zone reboot for an episode, and like you said, you saw her in Atlanta. So yeah,
I mean, she is up against Patricia Arquette, Heather Graham, I guess Tom Felton, although I only know him as Malfoy from all the Harry Potter movies. Like I'm sure he's in other things, but he is one of those guys. I'm sure he's not mad about it because he's probably made $1 bajillion. Right. But like 99% of people would know him just exclusively as Malfoy from the Harry Potter movies. And she just like the physicality, we'll get into it, an insanely good, really fun performance as far as I'm concerned. And she nailed all of this movie, I'll say right off the bat, wears its influences on its sleeve, I would say, is fair to say.
Yeah.
This is and this is no disrespect, but this is a Tarantino, like, almost like they laid tracing paper over a Tarantino movie a little bit.
Yeah.
But it has enough of its own ideas, and it keeps you guessing. It's well paced. It's well shot. Like I said, it's well acted. The sound could very easily be lost, but is fantastic. This would be a really fun movie to see on the big screen. I instead watched it like just sitting unreasonably close to a 90-inch TV. So like it kind of felt like I was there. And above all, this movie is, and this is one of my number one priorities across the board, it's unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
It really goes left, right. You have no fucking idea where this roller coaster's going most of the time, which is 90% of the battle for me. Yeah, I'd say for some people, it might be a little too derivative.
Yeah.
For some folks.
I was trying to avoid calling it derivative because it does have so much Tarantino influence, but as we know, that Tarantino influence comes from a bunch of Hong Kong and Japanese films.
Sure. So he wore all his everything was Sergio Leone and Japanese Hong Kong shit and stuff like that.
So
Japanese and Hong Kong, not that they're the same thing.
No. But yeah. So the director, I that's partly why I started digging, because I was like, it's obviously Tarantino influence, but like how much maybe he just happens to also be like Tarantino. And then I looked, and he's a couple years younger than us. So it's very clearly just like Tarantino influence. Maybe he knows more, than the average watcher, but I feel like he's the kind of person, being that he was born in Russia, right around the time the collapse of the Soviet Union, he would have just been growing up. He would have been getting inundated with the top American media as it all gets flushed into Russia. And so like he just comes out, just more movie pilled than we are, because he's hit by all of the stuff that like is popular here. And I don't know how, I don't know how much he dives in. I don't know him personally, so I don't know how much he dove into the history of, that Kill Bill has that shot where she splits the guy in half with a sword, and there's something like that in this.
Yeah, it's almost shot for shot in a couple of instances.
Right. But that, that shot in Kill Bill is not even the best version of that, because like in 10 years earlier in a Jet Li film, it happens to a horse. So like,
nobody invented. Yeah, Quentin Tarantino didn't invent any of these shots. He just took them, put his spin on them, and now the baton is getting handed down. So yeah, I certainly don't hold it against him, especially like you said, a unique relationship undoubtedly with Western media. There's also, and we'll get into it, there's also, I saw a lot of Wes Anderson influence in it as well.
Yeah.
From the way he's setting up some shots to some of the dialogue to, I don't know if I would point this particular point at it, but like, of course you see, Grand Budapest Hotel everywhere because they're in a big giant, freaking early 20th century hotel. But late 19th, early 20th century hotel. But also, it is just insanely stylized, the entire movie, which Tarantino, Wes Anderson, both, you could draw a comparison to either one of those as well as a variety of other directors. But yes, it definitely wears its influence on its sleeve. It's very stylized. But like I said, it has enough of its own ideas and its own feel. It feels very unique.
Yeah.
Even with all that happening. So I'll finish with that, but we'll get into to the story and some of the shots and that sort of thing a little bit. But let's talk about a couple of the other performers. Zazie Beetz, who we talked about as some of the stuff that she's in. She was also in Bullet Train from a couple of years ago, that Brad Pitt movie, which I did not see.
It's not bad. I mean, it's along the lines of this actually. But you know, it's Brad Pitt starring. Like I don't think she plays as big a role as she could. Yeah.
And then I think she's a musician also as well. If I was younger, I'd probably know that. But I think she's also a musician. We also have Mahala. She just has she just goes by one name. She's also another young actress, British TV primarily, but then she was also in Bodies. And she plays a little smaller role. She plays Maria. Zazie Beetz plays Asia Reeves. Mahala plays Maria Reeves, her younger sister. And then we have Patricia Arquette as Lily Woodhouse, her last name. I don't think you ever hear it in the story, but Lily. Patterson Joseph. What do I know him from? I've seen him in certainly, like, I recognize his face, but I'm looking at what he'd been in that I would know him from.
Did you see the Wonka reboot? Did you see?
You know what? Would have loved to have seen the Wonka reboot. Did not see it.
Did you see the Velveteen Rabbit short film?
Certainly did not.
Yeah, I honestly don't think I've seen him in anything, because he does like genre work, but it's not anything that's ever like really stuck out to me. Oh wow,
he was in the Eon Flux live action movie,
sure,
that Charlize Theron was in, but
there was apparently a Thunderbirds Are Go reboot from 2015 that I was not aware of, that he was a voice on.
Yeah. That's
fucking bizarre.
Yeah, interesting. He's good. Maybe I'm confusing him with somebody else, but relatively small supporting role here as Ray, Lily's husband. We have the great Heather Graham plays Sharon. We have Tom Felton, aka Malfoy, as Kevin. Willie Ludick. I don't know if he's been on TV or anything. Pretty limited film acting credits. He plays Bob. And Kevin, Bob, and then the last one played by David Viviers, Tall Steve. They are basically like three kind of, along with Heather Graham's character, kind of like four like henchmen, I think, if you will.
Yeah,
and then, I'm sorry, it's another one.
Yeah.
Gabe Gabriel, which is
Short Steve.
Wild that his parents named him Gabe Gabriel, but Short Steve.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are the big people to call out here.
James Remar plays a voice at the very end. I think a lot of people know who James Remar is, but you know, he was the dad on Dexter. He was in the Francis Ford Coppola epic Megalopolis.
Sure.
Yeah, he was in Hellraiser Inferno. We've talked about him before.
Yeah. We have a genre veteran in Angus Sampson, who's been in a ton of James Wan films in smaller roles. He was also in the Mad Max movies with the aforementioned Charlize Theron. He plays a relatively small character, but gets a couple of great laughs. Yeah, I think those are the big folks to call out here.
Yeah.
So if I had to describe this movie in one sentence, I would say it's if Quentin Tarantino made a mashup of John Wick and Eyes Wide Shut. That is how I kind of would describe this movie. It starts out, you get, it's very well paced. I'll say it gets right into the story. You get the establishing scenes. You get where Asia and Maria are coming from, two sisters. They've already escaped some sort of abusive relationship on their way to New York City. We don't know much about it. They're out on a rainy night, clearly like traveling, either hitchhiking or on a bus or something, but they're trying to get from one place to another and not be found by someone. We learn pretty quickly that it's their dad who shows up looking for them, kind of gets them trapped in this convenience store. They mention their mom died and the dad's an alcoholic bastard, abusive piece of shit or something like that. He eventually has, someone with him, which we don't really get an idea of who it is, but they kind of trap them in the parking lot, kind of corner them. And Asia, which we haven't even learned her name yet, but she pulls out a gun and blasts him in the chest. And then, cops are coming. She panics, runs away, leaves the little sister, Maria, behind. Of course, she thinks the dad is dead. He's not dead. He survives. We learn that later. It's not a spoiler at this point. But 10 years later, jump forward. So we just get that all happens pretty quick, about 5 minutes. We get the idea. She's running from something, troubled childhood, sister, dad, mom, family, blah, blah, blah. 10 years later, still raining. And she's apparently the same age. And she shows up at this spooky ass hotel, says her name is Isabel. And she's there for a maid job. She immediately meets Lily, who is Patricia Arquette's character, who's already kind of skeptical right off the bat. It's like, you don't sound like Isabel. And she was like, oh, I'm getting over a cold or whatever. This is somebody she had apparently interviewed over the phone for this maid job. We get introduced to the Virgil. This is this very exclusive, luxury hotel in Manhattan, very fancy, inhabited solely by a bunch of rich shitbirds. She meets these weird douchey guests, which are Heather Graham, Tom Felton, and Bob, Tall Steve, Short Steve. You pretty much know they're up to no good right from the beginning, but they're being very overly courteous to her.
I mean, why are they hanging out in the lobby? Is
clearly just like hang out in the lobby, seemingly waiting for her. We get introduced to just a bunch of nameless staff members, all wearing like very pristine little uniforms. It's all kind of a bit weird and culty. They all like live there in the hotel in like the like employee quarters, I guess.
Yeah.
And they eat together. They just feel like they're like very isolated. It's weird.
Yeah. Again, the design of the hotel is like, it's all 1920s Art Deco. It is like when she steps inside, she basically just walks into the past, because it's like, it's all these Art Deco finishes. There's giant locks on the door that lock them in.
Like bank vault lock kind of shit.
There's, like you said, the maids are all dressed in like these, same up and down maid uniforms, but they're also like bright and sunshiny. And it just is clear this is bad news. But that's if you also totally miss the fact that when they introduce the Virgil, there's a big fucking pentagram on the top floor window of the building.
Yeah. As you scan down, yes, like you wouldn't see it from the street, but as you come down there, you know something's gone wrong at the Virgil.
Yeah.
Right. There's a big pentagram. Like no one see it, but like as the camera pans down, you see that. You also notice that almost all of the maids and waitstaff and all those people are almost exclusively young female minority.
Yeah.
They're almost all African-American, Latina, not all of them, but most of them, and young women.
Right.
Right. So they show Asia to her room. As soon as she gets in there, she starts acting weird. Like she's very scared of what's happening. She's not scared, but like very cautious of what's happening. She's listening to the door. She locks the door. She puts a chair in front of the door, all this stuff. So you know that she is kind of sketched out by the whole thing, and you don't really know why yet. She goes and takes a shower. You see written on the mirror the name of the movie.
Yep.
Right?
It's a good title. It's a great title card.
They say it. It's the name of the movie on the. They will kill you. She hears something in the vent. Seems like some creepy laughing happening. She falls at one point trying to like look up in the vent, and like someone laughs at her. It's just this very unsettling environment. It feels almost prison-y, but again, it's this weird Art Deco hotel. She goes to sleep, puts a chair in front of the door, and someone starts trying to get in. Like someone's trying to key in to her room. And someone's definitely watching her through the vent now. She actually sees somebody watching through the vent. We get a scene where she's sleeping and a hooded, character, like leaning over top of her and like drooling on her, licking her feet at one point. And I'm like, this is, as Tarantino as it gets, right?
Yeah.
When you get to feet licking.
Right.
And then she wakes up and she actually sees somebody's, in a mask looking through the vent at her. It seems to be some sort of like this pig mask or something. Somebody is trying to come from behind the fridge. People are trying to come in the door, but of course she has a chair there. So all of a sudden, a couple of weirdo cloaked people in masks start pouring into her room, and a scuffle ensues. And she smacks one guy, like tackles him into a table. She gets kind of knocked loopy. He gets knocked unconscious. She wakes up. She's still a little disoriented. And all these other people are trying to get in, all in weird masks and cloaks. This is where you get the reveal that they can come in and out behind the fridge. It's all the weird, shitty, rich people from the lobby. This is like 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of suspense. You knew they were creepy. It's confirmed they're creepy within 5 minutes. They all have these lame masks and like I said, these black, almost like leather bunched up cloaks.
They look like fucking Bruce Willis when he's doing Unbreakable, because he's got like the rain slicker, and that's basically all they're wearing. They're just wearing black rain slickers that like a little higher quality, material.
Yeah. So they think she's knocked out too. At one point, she does again some John Wick shit where she like fakes something's, she's knocked out. So when Heather Graham leans down to like touch her, she electrocutes her with like a wire she's ripped out of the she uses herself as a conduit,
right,
kind of, to electrocute Heather Graham. So she in turn electrocutes herself, and then just runs and hides in the closet.
Yeah,
and they're all like, "What the fuck was that? We know you're in the closet," kind of thing,
It's this this one on rewatch. I was like, "Oh, that is a Tarantino right there," because what she does, she rips the wires out of a lamp and bites down on the exposed wires that electrocutes her and then electrocutes Heather Graham. And then she pops up into frame almost exactly like Uma Thurman does in Pulp Fiction when she takes that bump of like, of the bad Coke. She takes the bump of the bad Coke and she pops up and she's like, God, that's a goddamn. And then Zazie Beetz in this, she pops up. She's like, motherfucking shit. Because her hair's like all, exploded out from the electrocution.
And she's also like kind of steaming. It's like a little bit reminded me of
it's cartoon, too.
Wet Bandit style.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's very cartoon. It's like Wet Bandit style where she pops up kind of thing. It's Daniel Stern a little bit in that moment. So yeah, this movie definitely has a sense of humor, we should say, where there's a lot of silly and like I said, some of the laughs are straight Wes Anderson bits, and like they could be from like Moonrise Kingdom or some shit like that. They're like, come out of there, asshole. They open up the door. She had been stashing a bunch of weapons in there. She's got a machete. She immediately slashes Malfoy, cuts his head clean off, like it's a katana. You know what I mean? In a martial arts movie or samurai flick. She's got a double barrel, like sawed off shotgun. She blasts another one. She just beats the rest of their asses. Great fight scene, very chaotic, hyper violent. They pepper in the CGI when they need to, when limbs are cut off and shit like that. I think all the fight scenes very well choreographed, but then with these crazy cartoonish Tarantino, but also 60s, 70s, 80s martial art blood sprays.
Yeah.
So not unlike Kill Bill, every time somebody gets cut, it's like their heart is pumping blood at like 30 psi because it just sprays like a mist everywhere.
Their blood pressure is 310/80 or whatever.
Yeah, it's intense. And there's a lot of like these very Tarantino-esque like showdown type of shots, like it's an old West shootout. These hero shots. We get a lot of these, and about 100 needle drops.
Yeah.
So you see what we mean when we say this is like very Tarantino.
Yeah. The RZA is on the soundtrack, so don't be afraid to think that he wouldn't be. He totally is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
and it's a great needle drop too.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of needle drops, and I think they're all great. But yeah, this is like the most Tarantino at this point. The fight scene, it doesn't end, but it comes to a point where like Zazie Beetz pushes up a mattress and Heather Graham shoots through the mattress and like it falls to the ground, and like you were saying, it has this Sergio Leone Wild West showdown feel, but it's also a samurai film because all of the stuffing out of the mattress is playing as like the sakura blossoms in a samurai film as they fall down around Heather Graham and Zazie Beetz as they show down with each other. But then
they even do a snow scene later in the ending fight. It is, I mean, all those Italian, spaghetti Western films were essentially ripoffs of samurai films, right? So they're all very interconnected.
Yeah, we're on the third iteration of a copy of a copy. Yeah, at this point. Like, I think I don't know if we talked about it so much on the show, but I definitely talked about it when I watched the film Strange Darling, which was, directed by J.T. Molnar, and he's another newish director who is like around our age. And Strange Darling has a lot of Tarantino influence in it. It's not as on its sleeve as this film. And I think it tells its own story in such a way but just its structure of being nonlinear and broken up into the chapters, kind of, some of the things that this film does. And then there's some very specific car camera work. So it's like, we're now in that generation of like, any director who's about our age is going to possibly have some influence from Tarantino, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Yep. Um, the interesting thing at this point, when she comes out into the hallway and she like, confronts Lily, you've established at this point she's not a regular person. She has done this before. You know, she is obviously like exceptionally talented, like fighter, and she is here for a reason. She didn't come for a maid job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Lily kind of demands to know who she is, and that's when you get the first kind of title card. It's like a name card, but it just says like Asia Reeves, you know. And then we get that flashback to her story, and she went to prison. Her sister went back with her dad, who did live, and we get a little bit peppered throughout the movie a bit about her time in prison, which obviously she was in like a rough, female prison type of environment, had to fight. She got shivved at some point and had to beat the shit out of a bunch of people. Like, she learned all of this, like how to fight, especially fight a bunch of people at once during her time in prison. And then fast forward to like less than a year before this, she was getting out of jail and she's working with, and let me go back and see what his name is, or what the character name is.
I think he's just credited as the PI.
The PI, yeah. Angus Sampson's character. I was going to say he's a PI. What's his name? And then I look, he's just credited as the PI.
Yeah.
Who is getting information for her. He has tracked Maria to the Virgil. So that's why she's there. She basically found out that a person she used to be, I used to be in jail with, her name is Isabel, and she learned this, showed up, pretended to be Isabel. That's how she got in. This how she learned about Isabel and got that name and all that stuff. Lily will not tell Asia where Maria is, if she's alive, if she's dead, whatever. This is when shit goes straight up sideways. And again, we're probably only 15 minutes into the movie at this point. Like, a lot has happened, maybe 20. Yeah, can't be that long.
Yeah, I think, kind of the first fight scene happens within 20. And so this is within 30 minutes that we get this amazing twist. And and I think it's great because we're actually on our like second twist, really, because our first twist is that Asia was prepared. She when she sees that scene, or when she sees the writing, "They will kill you" on the mirror, she just wipes it away. And it makes you wonder, it's like, why would she be so bold? Like, she can still read it, can't she? Why would she be so bold? And it's because she's ready for this. She's ready to murder. And
she brought weapons. Yeah. She's ready to fuck people up. She came here to fuck people up.
Yeah. And then we get this great second reveal. And out of the room that she just killed everybody in, I think it might be Tall Steve, but Tall Steve hops out on his one leg, and then his fire.
Yeah, she had severed his foot.
Yeah, she had cut his foot off, cut his hand off, and slashed him in the throat. And he's followed by Short Steve, who is spitting out buckshot, and Draco Malfoy is carrying his own head, which is such a great fucking shot. And the whole time, this is a great Tarantino style needle drop, because the song is from 1969. It's called "I'm Alive" by Johnny Thunder, and this track fucking rocks because it is just old school, like fuzz rock. It sounds like it's out of a spaghetti western, and it might have been, but yeah, it's just a classic old school song. And it's just, the whole track is just, him singing "I'm Alive" while these four fucking goons just walk out of the room, all torn up and everything. It rocks. Yeah. I was 100% on. I was like 95% on board, but now I'm 100% on board.
Same. I was like, yes, this is exactly the fucking, left turn that I was looking for. They all like literally start healing, regenerating. Like, Malfoy puts his head on his neck and it starts reconnecting and reforming and regenerating to connect to his body. And you're like, Jesus Christ, didn't see, supernatural coming here, right? realize Lily says basically that they're immortal. That's all she said. We don't know why. We don't know how. We don't know anything about this. She runs past. There's a maid that comes out to grab her. Just one of the random maids. She stabs that maid in the gut with the sword, runs into her room, locks herself in the room. The maid's, I guess, kid is in there, who we met earlier really briefly. Kid's maybe 8 or 10 years old. Runs up behind her, stabs her in the back with a screwdriver, and she turns around and punches the kid out, blasts him right in the face, which was comedic and also shocking. She just punched the kid, knocked him unconscious. There's a few moments of her like trying to look in the mirror and trying to get the screwdriver out of her back. She can't reach it. And then we go out, we get, out in the hall, we see Lily coming up to the maid that's laying there dying on the ground and says to her, essentially, remember to clean up the blood after you resurrect.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, so like, she's just kind of like, she's in pain, but she's also like not concerned about dying.
Yeah.
Because it's revealed that she's going to come back to life. So we don't know anything about why, but these people were immortal, apparently. She locks herself in that room. She tries to get out. She tries to break the window. She tries all these things. She can't get out. Everything is like shatterproof, reinforced, all that stuff. She ends up escaping through the it's in the closet. Maybe I forget, but it's in she gets into an underground tunnel.
Yeah, she finds a trap door in the room. And
that's right. She pries up the trap door with the screwdriver, and it goes into an underground tunnel. And it's very, people under the stairs kind of, but also we get a lot of action down in these tunnels, and she's being chased by the big meathead guy, a handful of other people, the other various goons and villains. And we get this, well, I'll wait because we're going to talk about it here in a sec, but she hears them talking about some sort of ritual and being immortal and all this stuff. So we're starting to piece this thing together. We get another action kind of chase scene where they hear her, and the guy stabbing through the wall with the sword ends up pitting her hand against the wall. And then they're like, all right, you can't kill us. We're immortal. Stop being a pain in our asses. And, that wouldn't have happened. And she pulls her hand down and basically cuts her, like almost bisects her own hand to get it not being pinned against the wall anymore. And one of them tries to shoot her with a shotgun, and Lily scolds her, is like, what the fuck are you doing? We need her alive. So, in the chase scene under the, in these tunnels, she ends up killing Heather Graham again by literally blowing her head off with a shotgun, like disintegrating her head with a shotgun. And she kills a couple of them. She shivs the hell out of the one guy, blows Heather Graham's head off, and then just waits there with a shotgun and watches as her like headless body reanimates and tries to come after her, crawling toward her in the tunnel, but it can't seem to see her because it doesn't have eyes yet, or its eyes aren't intact. And it also has these weird little like appendages in its neck.
It's just like
basically
flaps.
The head's starting to like grow back, but it's like starting to grow back already.
Yeah. If it wasn't played for laughs, it would be like a terrifying Silent Hill monster. But it is played for laughs. Like, again, now I'm 110% on board with this film because it is doing gross body horror gags. Like, this is this is along the lines of Evil Dead, at this point.
Oh yeah, I mean, when she blows her head off, there's like all of these gore all over Asia's face, and she's like, "Fuck!" and she's like, she's pulling like guts off of her face and stuff,
Yeah.
So it's a very cartoonish level of violence.
Yeah, and now you have like this weird, puppet, that's just running around without a head, bumping into shit. And so it's like, we're doing Evil Dead in the vents. I also just wanted to note, I didn't know if you could think of another film that did this, but because we're doing so much action in these vents, and a lot of the time the director actually pulls out to like these wide shots of the vents. And
almost like this I did call this out because it's like these wide shots of the vents, and it's almost like the vents are bisected, and they do this several times because they do it in hallways too.
Mm-hmm.
It almost pulls out and makes it look like it's like a 2D, Metroidvania almost view of wherever they are. And the first thing I thought about was Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Okay.
And Wes Anderson.
Okay.
They do that a ton, specifically in tunnels.
Okay.
In that movie. So that's the first one I thought about. I'm sure there's other instances, but they do it a ton in that movie. I want to say he does it in, what's the movie, Wes Anderson movie where they're on Darjeeling Limited? I feel like he does it too. In the train.
Yeah, maybe with the trains. See, I didn't see Fantastic Mr. Fox, so I didn't have that reference. But like, just the whole pulling out to that wide shot, but like, it almost feels like it's changing the aspect ratio of what you're watching because it's such a long, wide tunnel, but it's only, a little bit of headroom for them to maneuver in. So like, I can see how that would be a Wes Anderson thing. But it reminded me of, there is a pretty decent, but it has a really shitty ending, sci-fi film called Meander, which is basically that it's the entire movie of just crawling around in these cramped tunnels. And a lot of it is kind of filmed like this. It's a good movie from 2020. It's fine. It's a French film. The ending sucks absolute ass, but up until the ending, it's a very, you get a lot of Cube feelings to it.
Sure.
So
I love Cube.
Yeah. So like there's a lot of good feelings going throughout. You're like, oh, this is really interesting. And there's a lot of, crazy things going on here. And it's like, great. It's a new Cube like. But yeah, it's called Meander. That's a bad, dumb title.
Yeah, that's a bad title. Yeah. I'm trying to think obviously when I think of like crawling around in tunnels, I immediately think of Alien, but it's shot very, very differently.
Mm-hmm.
The later they even kind of pull back, and we'll talk about it when it comes, but Malfoy is now after her in the tunnels, and then Lily's husband Ray kind of pops up of like an alcove and like kind of pulls her to safety. And he explains he left the message for her, on the mirror, and we get a title card, the Virgil, and we get a little bit of information about it. This building is was built as a temple to Satan, and we understand all these occult dealings basically keep them immortal, but they have to do consistent human sacrifices, and obviously Asia is there to be sacrificed. There's something about you write names on a list, and it's kind of a one in, one out situation. So if you want one more, or not a one in, one out, it's more of a if you're gonna put a name on the list, you got to sacrifice somebody. So that's why they're constantly sacrificing people to keep Satan or whatever demon they're worshiping at happy, and also to add names to the immortal list of shitty rich people. We get Heather Graham's eyeball is now like on a hunt to get back to her body, like her eyeball and the whole like stalk on her eyeball and everything. So we see it like rolling around, hopping around,
doing Spider-Man shit in the vents.
Yeah. Looking at her in the vents, spiders crawling on it for some reason.
Because it was in the vents. Vents is full of spiders.
Vents is full of spiders. You are right. We get that. The other way I would describe these shots we were talking about, I was mentioning those Fantastic Mr. Fox, like almost it looks like you're on a 2D platformer a little bit, but it also reminds me of like if you were shooting it in a dollhouse and the dollhouse was like bisected. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's very, like I said, very stylized. It also gives you a sense of like just how cramped it is and how grand the scope of this hotel is as well. Funny bit that comes back a couple times. Ray, which is Lily's husband, and Asia are crawling through the vents, and he's telling her all about the Virgil and Satan worshiping and occult shit and whatever. And they look down through a vent, and there's just a crazy eyes wide shut orgy going on. And she's like, "What is this?" And Ray's like, "It's a fuck floor."
Fuck floor.
And it's a fuck floor. And he explains that like these rich immortal assholes are, you know, they live for excess. You know what I mean? Each floor caters to, you know, some different vice.
Yeah.
Which gave me a couple of cool ideas for Cool Heaven, which we should think about down the road.
Well, well, Brian, as far as
without the classist shit,
sure,
we'll take the classist
shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is just Dante's Inferno. This is
okay. All right, let's not poo-poo my ideas yet.
I'm not poo-poo.
Cool Heaven is a whiteboard right now. All right, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we can change the theme of the floors. They don't have to be the betrayers and the heretics, and you know, we can change the themes of the floors. But
we can have a fuck floor.
Yeah, with
all I want is just to have a fuck floor, a floor where we just do like psychedelics.
Yeah,
another floor where we skateboard, smoke cigs. You know, stuff like that.
And we're not limited to 9. I'm just saying, you know, within the confines of this film. You know, it's very much Dante's Inferno. You know, the second floor is the second level in hell. That's lust. They wind up on the third floor, and it's in a banquet hall, and then like all the paintings in the hallway are of food. So like you're in gluttony.
Sure.
And then, you know, the final floor, it's cold, and you can imagine what you find up there. So
mm-hmm. Yeah. Ray, you know, she asked him like, "Why are you doing this?" kind of thing, and he's like, "You know, I have my reasons," or whatever. Asia finds Maria, and it's kind of like, "Oh my god, there she is." Obviously, she's older now, she looks different, but they're like, "Oh my god, there she is." And now we get Maria's backstory, although just a abbreviated version of it, which is basically like, "Hey, I was working for some fucking asshole, and then I saw a flyer for the Virgil, and I showed up, and now I work here." And you're like, that doesn't seem like the whole story, but that's what we get for now. She is in the room. It's the two sisters, and it's Ray, and you get the idea that Maria knows she's being watched, which kind of partially explains why she very much rejects Asia's assistance. She's like, "I don't need you. You left me." But you can tell she also is a little bitter because she left her with the shitbag dad, you know, to get beaten, abused, or whatever for years after that while she was in prison. They argue, and Asia loses her temper and punches out her sister, knocks her unconscious, and just says like, "Bitch, I'm taking you with me." Throws her over her shoulder. The eyeball, Heather Graham's eyeball, is watching them the whole time in the vent. She squishes it. We get a gross out scene of her finding the eyeball, looking at it. The pupil dilates. She realizes what it is, squishes it in her hand. They explain that they got to try to get, there's like a fire escape or something they got to get to. Funny gag of, I think it's Malfoy and Heather Graham's headless body are in the tunnels, and she's trying to explain. He's like, where'd they go? And Heather Graham's headless body is miming fuck floor.
Yeah.
To Malfoy, like humping. And she's like, what? And she's like, humping. She's like, oh, fuck floor. Okay.
She's like doing the humps, and then she's like trying to mimic going down on somebody without a head.
Yeah.
And it's like, Jesus, this is so fucking great. And then has to resort to the standard, finger into the, hoop hole, into the OK symbol.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's like, of course.
Fuck floor. Ah, yes.
Another chase ensues. Ray helps them escape, at least for the moment. They end up down in the kitchen. And the big goon, what was his name?
Bob.
His name is Bob. Bob pursues them down to the kitchen. And he eventually kind of has, like, she tries to hide. He finds her. He's pretty much got her dead to rights. But Maria saves her by fire axing him in the back of the head. We get this heart-to-heart with Lily and Ray about their history as like an interracial couple in the early 20th century, and they got all tangled up in this, and this is when the neighborhood was like, I don't know, shithole or whatever, and they told themselves they were cleaning up the streets by sacrificing bad people, but then it's evolved over 100-something years to this, and Lily's still very much on board, but Ray's not. Then at one point Heather Graham pops in, and we get her a very comedic shot of her head growing back. So it's kind of like that scene from Men in Black, but it's happening much slower, you know, where he blows his head off and then it slowly regenerates really quick. But when it's in that little like fetal head like state, essentially, and it looks terrible, but to a funny effect.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it looks like they used the same effect that they did in PlayStation 1 to put the wrestlers' faces on the body models in like WWF Warzone, so they were all like stretched out.
Yeah. It's like her full Heather Graham face stretched over this tiny little pinhead.
Yeah, it's a funny gag. And then Lily, this is there are a lot of John Wick scenes, but this is the John Wickiest scene where Lily announces over the loudspeaker that, it's essentially in, what is that, John Wick 3? Is it the third one? Whenever he, the bounty goes out on his head, and like then all the violence in the Continental is like open now or whatever.
I get,
but basically now every hitman is out to get John Wick.
All those movies blend together for me. The only ones that really stick out are 1 and 4.
Yeah, I think it's 3 where that happens. But anyway, it's very much like that. She's like, basically, hey, this person is loose. Go get her. And Lily goes, I just dropped a photo in the group chat. Which is kind of thought was a funny bit. That all the immortals have a group chat.
Of all of the things that all the things that are old world, all the things that are 1920s coded. And then she's like, I put her photo in the group chat. It's like, yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess they still would.
Yeah. So she goes in the dining room, and there's a bunch of the bad guys in there, and they are like fighting her in the dark. She can't see them. They're coming up, attacking her out of the dark. And she gets an idea. She goes out. She gets an axe, the fire axe. She wraps cloth around it. She douses it in some sort of accelerant, I don't know, and she uses her cool lighter, which we see a couple times, which she has this little samurai lighter, which again, it's the most Tarantino thing you can do. Like, he tchotchkes, little cool,
it's the bad motherfucker wallet.
The bad motherfucker wallet, or a switchblade, or a Zippo, or a pair of spurs, like anything. Like, he just loves shit like that, and she's got a cool lighter. She torches you think she's gonna torch the whole ballroom, but then she sees that one of them has Maria, so she's like, all right, I'm gonna turn the axe into a torch. And then she proceeds to just massacre all of them with a flaming axe, and it is pretty sick.
It is probably one of the coolest scenes I've seen in a long time. From all the action films I do watch, like, not many have been this creative, and also a lot of this is practical when they're doing it, because everybody, like we mentioned, everybody's in those rain slickers, and those rain slickers are covered in fucking flame retardant gel, and it's cut very smartly so that, one guy will get hit with the flaming axe, go down on fire, and then in the next cut, the body will still be there, but it obviously isn't a person, but now it's a light source for the scene. And the scene gets brighter the more people she takes down. And it's like, God damn, that is such a smart and cool thing to do.
Yeah. And you get these long, pretty long, uncut sequences of her killing 3-4 at a time, and then it'll cut. And then it's 3-4 at a time, and then it'll cut. It's just a really, and the thing that I was most impressed about, because I didn't know shit about Zazie Beetz. I heard the name before. I know she's in things. Mm-hmm. She is phenomenal. Her physicality is incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Like she's incredibly athletic, incredibly just feels strong and dangerous. Like she feels like a stunt person doing these scenes, and it's her doing them.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they sell the fuck really out of her being a badass in this film.
Yeah.
And not to put it down, but like Heather Graham too. Like, not to acknowledge her. Like Heather Graham does a lot of great stunt stuff in this movie too. It's like, it's kind of surprising that like she gets so physical, but yeah, Zazie Beetz like fucking steals the show, and
big time.
This, like, yeah, you were saying earlier, like, you feel like this is kind of her like coming out party, as like this is like a true vehicle for her, because like a lot of the time she's kind of been a second in a lot of the other films. But yeah, this is like a starring role for her, and like hopefully she'll get more out of this, because she does a great job in this film.
Yeah, especially I would love to see her in more like action. I mean, she nails all the action portions big time.
Yeah.
I mean, and to do all that choreography and stuff, but also still act is like obviously incredibly difficult. And that's why, a lot of times stunt people are employed, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there might've been parts where, stunt people were employed here, but like for the most part, it's her. It's very impressive. She probably kills about 10 of them. They keep coming. And then we get one of the, I mean, it would be extremely difficult and unfair to say anything's over the top in this movie, because the whole movie's over the top. But she does this final kill where she like kicks a table up, pushes it, like does a giant flying slow motion Kill Bill action bisection with an axe, but she does it. So imagine that scene in Kill Bill that we talked about, but also combine it with Shane O'Mac coast to coast drop kick.
Like it is,
and also simultaneously kicking a table into the air, pushing it in front of you at the same velocity, so simultaneously, so that it deflects a shotgun blast.
There is so many things happening in these 4 to 3 shots the last remaining guy challenges her. He's holding a shotgun. He challenges her, and she's standing in front of a fire, and he's like, "Give it up. You got nothing left." And just this giant fireball erupts behind her for no reason other than to make her look cooler and dangerouser. And she launches this table in the air, and she does the fucking Rain of Fire axe jump. I don't know if you remember that movie, Rain of Fire, with
I do not.
It was Christian Bale and Matthew McConaughey fighting dragons hand to hand. Dude, this movie fucking stupid.
No,
but
no, sir. I missed that one.
But at one point, somebody jumps at a dragon with an axe exactly like this.
Okay.
And so, yeah, she does the Rain of Fire axe jump, but the table gets blown apart by the shotgun, and in the way it pulls apart, I think they really did it practically, because it pulls apart with the weird physics of like a Hong Kong film, of like the way when, Sammo Hung or Jackie Chan would kick a table at somebody and the table would get split in midair. It pulls apart like that with those weird physics.
Yeah. And
then she comes down and splits the dude with the axe like one of the one of the crazy 88 in Kill Bill. So yeah, it's just, there's like a whole bunch of references in this small amount of action, but it is, I mean, yeah, it's derivative, but it's also fucking awesome. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself if you don't like it.
It's super entertaining. If you don't like this, then fuck you. No, it is bonkers. You know, at this point in the movie, you know what you're here for, right? If you're still here, you know what you're here for. The last one, you know, he kind of begs for mercy. A different one, not the one he bisects. Another one. He's like an old, you know, this old guy, which, boy, I wish I would have looked up, because he is a recognizable actor. I know him from something. Shit. Maybe not. Maybe I just think he's somebody else. Anyway, he's like, you know, hey, you know, look, my, you know, we don't want to hurt you. My wife, look, there's my wife. She's laying over there. Like, she's dead or half dead. She's like, she really liked you, and blah, 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 all this stuff. And he just, you know, blasts him. She just blasts him across the room. I don't know why I thought this was funny at the time, but I said the only thing that would have made this scene just more chaotic is if they were playing the Venga Bus song the whole time. Yeah, it was like after, again, I was sitting 3 feet from a 90-inch TV watching this, and I was just like, what the fuck? You know, it's just, you know, I was just getting all sweaty. Anyway, so the sisters have a little kind of coming together chat, and we're sorry, we're everything's good, blah, blah, blah. Before being chased up this elevator shaft by Bob. And then at one point, one of them pops out and like he's just like a lackey, and they throw him down the elevator shaft, hitting Bob. So they're able to escape. They climb up out of the elevator shaft, and there are like, everyone's there. All the goons, there's like 50 people plus Lily are all like, hey, you're fucked. Just give up. And Asia threatens to kill herself. She's like, well, listen, I'm going to throw my ass down this elevator shaft if you come any closer. And Lily explains that, hey, you don't got the whole story here. And, you know, Maria, you know, made a deal or whatever. And then we get the deal, you know, the title card. And explain that the reason why, you know, Maria is there, she's on the staff, is she pledged her life to the devil, which is sick. And she explains that she was supposed to kill Isabel, who is coming there tonight. The girl Asia basically is impersonating. So now they're saying basically Maria has to kill Asia. So unless Asia is killed tonight, Maria's going to die. But I was like, it feels like it could also be someone else, because they don't, it's not that strict. It's a one on, it's a one for one policy, right, as we come to learn later. So this was only like a little bit of a plot hole I saw there, but
I guess I mean, for me, it was just like, well, who's Isabella? Like, she seems to be pretty much innocent, and she runs afoul both of Maria and Asia, which felt strange when there was that guy who was making Maria clean shit up off the side of a toilet because he had clearly purposely missed his shitting.
I thought it was vomit, but it could have been shit.
I don't know. Whatever it was, it would, you know, it was being gross. And I just thought it was weird that he wasn't targeted by Maria for her to kill him and then become immortal from it. Yeah, that's all it was. Because like they could have just.
Well, I don't think Maria was necessarily targeting Isabel as much as like, hey, because we see later on when we get the last little bit of the story was they brought Maria there under false pretenses to kill her, just to be a regular sacrifice. But Lily explains that we just so happens that one of our maids was caught stealing tonight and we need another maid. So do you want to be immortal? To which Maria says, hell yeah. and they say, well, okay, you got to kill someone, and it is this person who's coming here tonight under the same pretense as you did. So I think Asia
no, because
targeted Maria.
no,
Or I'm sorry.
no, Maria knew Isabel from a previous job. She says it at some point. So she.
Oh, I thought Asia knew her from a previous job, and that's why she knew to call herself Isabel.
No. Maria knew Isabel from a previous job, which is why she was calling Isabel in to work this new maid job.
Okay, gotcha.
And then the PI found out about Isabel, and that, because the PI linked Isabel and Asia, or the PI linked Isabel and Maria together, and then told Asia about Isabel. And then when Asia gets out of jail, she takes Isabel's place. So she technically, I don't think she kills Isabel in that scene, but she does take Isabel's place and probably like left her tied up in her apartment or whatever.
Yeah. Because she knocks on her door, so you get the idea that she maybe she paid her off. Who knows? Yeah. But
I don't know. I because it does just feel like Maria was going to kill a fucking innocent, and just another innocent person to become immortal.
Yes.
And I don't know. I just would have felt better if it was, like Sandy. Like if they just named that guy who made her clean shit, like name him Sandy or Kelly, an ambiguous, an ambiguous name, and then it makes the joke funnier. When at the beginning of the film, Asia shows up and Lily says, "You sound different," because she originally sounded like a guy.
Oh yeah, that would have been. Yeah, that might have been. That would have been sillier, but yeah, it would have been. It would have left the. There would be no mystery to that. Yeah. You knew she was there under false pretenses,
right? But still, a body's a body, so they, the immortals wouldn't care because a body's a body.
No, right?
So they wouldn't care about that, but it would just leave a funnier joke of like, oh, they thought she was gonna be this dude.
Yeah. Anyway, Asia, they try to grab her. She resists. She ends up falling down the elevator shaft and then gets caught by Bob, literally out of midair, like catches her by the leg. They bring her back up. Lily sticks her in the gut, and they're like, "We're going to see the head," which at that point, I was like, what is the head gonna be? And I took this opportunity to go pee. So I like paused it and went to pee. And the whole time I'm like, what's the head gonna be? And I kept thinking of that MTV show, The Head, that cartoon show. Remember? Yeah. That's what I kept imagining. Or perhaps the head of the family. But anyway, it is they go into this like refrigerated room. Essentially, it looks like it's a big like I don't know what it's supposed to be to be honest with you, like a slaughterhouse of sorts, but it's like up on the top floor. Yeah. I'm not sure, but it's refrigerated.
Yeah, this is where they simply fall apart and just simply follow the blueprint of Dante's Inferno, because in Dante's Inferno, the bottom level of hell is Satan frozen in ice. And so they just follow that. They're like, yeah, I don't know. It's a big refrigerator on top. Who gives a shit?
At this point, you're not really questioning it.
It looks like Hellraiser, and here's the Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, there's a bunch of freaking chains and upside down crucifixes and everything everywhere. And there's a big... like glowing red pentagram, which we assume was the window we saw at the top of the building earlier. Maybe not, but that's what I assume. Mm-hmm. And it's glowing red. And in front of it is like a big kind of altar with a bunch of candles. And you've got a big like pike with a big giant severed pig's head on it. So it is literally a head. Yeah. But it's a big head of like a big, looks like one of those big, like 400-pound, freaking country hogs, and they go in and they do a little ritual thing, and this like horned demon, like silhouette, I'll say, that seems to be on the other side of the window, the rear weird red window, kind of comes out as a shadow and goes into the pig's head, and then the pig's head reanimates and is like, the unclean spirit entered the swine. And you're like, this is a fucking video game at this point.
Yeah.
But it's sick also. I thought it was very unique. I'll put it this way. I hate when movies have an opportunity to take a big swing, and show you what the devil looks like, or show you whatever, like something wild like this, and they don't do it. And this felt very, very Clive Barker.
Yeah.
You mentioned Hellraiser, but this whole thing feels very Clive Barker.
It's Clive Barker. It's the 90s. Like, whatever it is about this sequence, it just feels like it steps into just like kind of the dumbest parts of the 90s, a little bit of booger sugar to write their ending, and it's fucking perfect. Because how disappointed would you be if they got to the top floor and it was just like a palatial penthouse, and then it was just like some jerk off cameo of like a dude in a suit?
It was fucking, I don't know who would be appropriate to get, but you can imagine in a certain era, you'd go up there and it would be, Christopher Walken,
right? Yeah,
or somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it could,
and you'd just be like, what?
Yeah, it could have been Christopher Walken in this. It could have been like,
Al Pacino.
Fuck.
It wouldn't have been Al Pacino now, but like 20 years ago, it might have been Al Pacino. 30 years ago, it might have been Al Pacino.
I mean, it could have literally just been Tarantino, and you would have just made like a jerk off motion at the TV and be like,
yeah.
And if that would have happened, we would have been talking about Buffet Infinity.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. You probably wouldn't even have brought this up to me. So the animated pig head talking, obviously CGI, really, I thought they did a good job of making it really gross.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is like it's not rotten because it's in a refrigerator, but it's a big, gory, gross pig's head, and you see the texture of its skin, little hairs, and you see some things like tattooed all over it. You realize those are the names. So the list is written on the pig's head. And they explain what happened, and basically Ray is out. So they're like, erase Ray's name. They do. And then the pig head commands Lily to kill Ray. They have a little moment, and Lily says, fuck it, and slashes Ray's throat. Maria begs for another chance, and the pig head commands her to kill Asia. She agrees, and then it's like, come write your name. Classic mistake. Make her kill before you write the name, but she says, come write the name. She goes and writes her name on the pig's head. Then Maria, they have a little, stand in there, a little sentimental moment. Maria cuts her own throat, and her blood sprays all over the place. I thought this was going to be a bigger thing that was going to come back, but it doesn't. Some of the blood sprays on the pig's head, and the pig licks some of the blood off its face.
Mm.
And I thought that was going to be more of a thing, but it wasn't.
No.
I just felt like they really took a moment to like focus on that. And I don't know. It was just like, I guess that's gross. We got to show that. But they're both laying there on the floor, kind of face to face, having a moment, and she's like, I'm so sorry. Asia says to Maria, I'm so sorry. Maria says, go fuck them up. But you can't hear it because she cut her throat. So she's kind of like, can't talk, but we get subtitles of her saying that. Asia pops up, grabs a cleaver, runs over to the pig head, sees that Maria wrote Asia's name, and then sacrificed herself. So now we're like, oh, Asia is immortal now. Asia cuts the little chunk of flesh off the pig's head that has her name on it, looks at it, and puts the skin in her pocket. And then her wounds all start to heal. And we realize, the baddies all realize what has happened, but it's too late. Asia just goes bonkers on them, beats the living shit out of them, fucks them all up, kind of traps them all in these like kind of depth traps, like ties one of them up with a chain, hangs the one, pins the one to the wall with like a spike, cuts Heather's head off, and then throws it in this big like chest, I don't know, meat chest or something. And the Bob, she like basically stabs him up against like some like exposed pipe and like fills his head up with some sort of refrigerant. But of course they're immortal, so they're not dying. They're just kind of incapacitated for the time being.
She missed a real moment though, doing that to Bob, because it like all I was thinking of was let off some steam, Bennett. And it's like, where's the fucking chill out or stay cool? It's just like, damn it.
Where's the Mr. Freeze? Or she could have went full Jason X and froze his head solid and then smashed it into a million pieces.
That too.
I understand it wasn't liquid nitrogen, but it kind of reminded me of it. So the pig's head, we look back and the pig's head attaches itself to Lily, which I, again, did not see this coming. Great final boss reveal. The pig's head has like what looks like just some loose, I don't know, hunks of flesh hanging from it, but is kind of using them as tentacles to attach itself to Lily. And it now has a machete, and it's also using its weird little tentacles too to like run like an animal, like it has 4 legs. Anyway, we get this crazy ass Kill Bill style martial arts sword battle between immortal Asia and demon pighead Lily. Meanwhile, snow is falling because one of the pipes for the refrigerant has been severed or whatever. She eventually pins her to a wall and then does some like sad shit with Maria's voice, like basically making her feel bad. The pig head is like talking Maria's voice, and Asia says, leave my sister alone, and does some wacky bound off the wall move, rips the head loose from Lily, then simultaneously Mortal Kombat uppercuts Lily with the pig's head, knocking her backwards onto the pike, and is like, what's the right word? Like
impaled.
Yeah, on the pike.
Did you ever believe that you would have seen Patricia Arquette wire fu?
No, I did not. Oh, I should call that out. It's very, again, Tarantino or Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon type, of which I feel like that is the first movie that like a whole generation of people were introduced to the whole wire fu thing, was Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Remember, for some reason that was like really in the pop culture zeitgeist for a while, where people were doing jokes in every parody movie with wire fu. But it's well done. Like I said, it's really well choreographed. The giant pig head on top just feels like a Silent Hill boss.
When I saw this, I immediately thought of you because you love Motel Hell. So I was like, Brian is going to fucking bug out when he sees this shit.
It's so crazy that I did not think of Motel Hell. I did not. For some reason, I saw Pyramid Head because it's so big on her head. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it is crazy that until just now, I never thought of Motel Hell. The movie I love that I have on every imaginable, format, with a guy who has a giant pig head on his head.
And there's a fight scene. There's a fight scene with him. He's fighting with
It's a fight scene. Maybe if she had a chainsaw, I would have recognized it. But yeah, I did not make the connection. Anyway, she goes to the pig head now, and she demands Maria back. And the pig head says, sure, one death for one life. But she's like, nah, dog. And pins the pig head to the table with the machete, douses it in lighter fluid, and burns all the names off of it. And when all the names get essentially erased from the pig's head, we see all of the goons who are have been incapacitated by Asia, but are not dead because they're immortal, realize that they are now no longer immortal and are going to die. So we see them like suffering the last couple of moments of their wounds and then dying. And we're like, okay, well, Asia's the only immortal at this point. She puts the flaming pig head on a
serving cart.
Hotel cart. Yeah, like a service cart, and shoves it down the elevator shaft. And that one maid that tried to kill her earlier, that she stabbed in the gut, is down there for some reason.
She's cleaning up the body. She's cleaning up the body that exploded on top of it before. So she's like cleaning up that blood as now this service cart comes down on top of her.
And smashes her as well. And of course, she's not immortal anymore either. Mm-mm. So it's a hell of a way to go. And Asia, is carrying Maria's body. She walks out and she says to all of the remaining maids, if I were you, I'd clear out, which is a very Tarantino, kind of nonplussed by all this insanity line. She walks right out the front door carrying Maria in the body's like wrapped up. And you see the PI across the street in a shitty little car, and he just gives her a thumbs up. Like, he doesn't know all the things she's went through, and he's just like, hey, thumbs up.
Yeah.
Which is a funny gag, because you just were in this insanely chaotic scene and all this insanity and freaking flaming talking pig's head demons, and then all of a sudden walk out onto just the regular street in New York City, and there's just this schlubby guy who gives her a thumbs up. And they get in the car, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry about, because she puts Maria's body in the back seat, and he's like, I'm sorry. He assumes she's dead. And then Maria wakes up in the back of the car, and he's freaking out. Maria's kind of confused. Asia looks down, and she had that piece of skin, and it has Maria's name on it. And she explains that she changed Asia, which Maria wrote, to Maria by adding letters, basically. And like adding, kind of writing over top of it, or like adding letters, I guess. And my question was, which I didn't fully understand, I should have rewound it, but I didn't. When did it happen? Because she received some of the benefit of being immortal because we saw her wounds healing.
Right.
Before the fight ensued. Did she change it? She changed that scrap of skin after she fought everybody, but before she set the pig's head on fire?
Yeah, you assume it happened like before she set it on fire, because like when she cuts her name off the pig's head, they also take the time to show a shot of the pen that's been attached to the pig's head fall off the pig's head, so it's available to pick up and use. But they don't show her change the name, so you can have this fun little reveal that she made the change. So they do a very deliberate job, both when you first see the pig's head and when it's talking, to show that there's essentially a little bank pen.
Yes, exactly what I was going to say. A little pen on a chain, like you would see at the bank, attached to a hoop in the pig's ear. So anyway, they're both alive. The PI's driving away. They're like, hey, Maria's like, I want to go get some breakfast or whatever. And as they're driving away, the hotel explodes into flames. And that's the end of the movie. So, yeah, like I said, well paced, well shot, well acted. It sounds great. I remember, making a point of like calling out when she was, fiddling around in the room with the vent and everything. Just like this, the sound design's exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
The movie's super unpredictable. If you're okay with it wearing all its, influences very much on its sleeve, and just being like cartoonish, over stylized, it is extremely fun.
Yeah. But it's also 90 minutes. So like you're not here.
Tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not here to fuck around and get deep into everything. We're here for a fun little roller coaster ride. And that's exactly what you get. And like, there's a bunch of other kind of exploitation like films that are coming out that I'm excited for, that I think are going to be good follows up to this. But they're also kind of in the action and horror genre. But I don't know if you've seen anything of these. But I believe one is called A Spoonful of Chocolate.
Nope.
It is One Spoon of Chocolate.
Okay.
It is directed by the RZA, and it is just straight up like military, like ex-military convict coming back to a small town and then killing all the bad guys in his town.
Sounds sick.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
Yeah. And then the other one is called Is God Is. And it is like two sisters going on a revenge quest to kill their dad. And it has Vivica A. Fox and Sterling K. Brown in it. So
I've seen the preview, or I've seen maybe not a trailer, but I've seen stuff pop up on social media for that.
Yeah. So I think all three of these films are going to kind of live in the same space as like a resurrection of like, exploitation type film. But yeah, obviously this one has a lot of Tarantino influence, but that influence is also Hong Kong influence. So yeah, I don't know.
This reminded me the viewing, not the movie, very little about the movie besides some good choreographed fight scenes. This reminded me of the just joy and just pure entertainment pleasure that I experienced when I watched Malignant for the first time.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Where it was just like, what the fuck are we watching? It's going all over the place. But Malignant even was almost 2 hours. This is like a tight hour and a half.
Yeah. They don't have to fuck around. And they set everything up so early, so easily, of like two sisters. One sister feels bad about what she did, so she's trying to right those wrongs, and there's a hotel of people in her way to do it. Fucking great, easy premise. Go at it. Oh, wait, they're Satanists and they're immortal? Great. Hey, what a fun twist. And they keep coming back, and there's all these fucking body horror gags, and there's all this other crazy shit. Like, yeah.
The pig head, devil going in the pig head. I love that. Love that.
Yeah, 100% nailing the third act climax is what's most important. The fact that it wasn't like Chris Hemsworth in a suit or any dumb shit like that. And it is a fucking Mortal Kombat boss with a Mortal Kombat fight. That's what you need at the end.
That's what you want. Yeah, if it was like fucking Tom Holland up there, you know what I mean? Like being a little silly boy
or
in a suit.
Steve Buscemi. Like, no.
Yeah, I'd have been so mad.
I love Steve Buscemi, but like that's such a telegraph twist of like, here's where we have our big name cameo of a guy playing against type to play the devil. Gives a shit.
I'll reiterate one more time. Zazie Beetz is now could be a full-fledged fucking action star tomorrow. Yeah, like her performance was just among the better action performances I've seen in fucking decades. Really, really fun flick. They Will Kill You just came out not that long ago. I mean, it's 2026, so I don't know exactly when it released, but it is on streaming now. You might have to pay to rent it, but I don't know. It's not a lot. It's not one of those crazy $20-$30 rentals or whatever.
Mm-mm.
It's like $6 or some shit. Absolutely worth it. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yep.
Any final thoughts on They Will Kill You before we wrap up this here minisode?
It is interesting that the ending is one of the few endings that is like you can't really make a sequel out of. Pig head exploded, everybody in the Virgil dies, and the two sisters go off into the sunset. So I doubt we'll ever get a sequel to this. Not that you couldn't write one, I guess, but
yeah. This feels like a good standalone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, go do something else. You can do something wacky and fun and action packed without bringing any of that stuff back. Yeah, this feels like a pretty singular standalone project. And I personally am okay with that because despite the movie I picked for next week's showdown, most of the time sequels ain't no good. But speaking of showdown, just a reminder, if you want to check out some of these movies or familiarize yourself with them, or what I always urge you to do, sit down, watch them back to back to back. Reminder of what we're going to do. Bigfoot Ben is going to talk about Willard. Oh, by the way, this is our least intimidating killers showdown. Bigfoot Ben's going to do Willard from Willard, 1971. Steve is going to do the quote-unquote monsters from Night of the Lepus, 1972. And then I'm coming all the way back to 1983 and our old pal Norman Bates as a crusty old man in Psycho 2. Okay. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Nope, that's about it. Yeah, go watch the other films we did mention. We talked about Buffet Infinity and Faces of Death, and I'll be writing those up. But watch those. Those are other good films that are out on the market right now. A lot of good stuff to watch.
A lot of fun stuff to watch out there. I might watch Buffet Infinity tonight. Who knows? Might see if I'm feeling froggy. All right. Well, for the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Brian.
And I'm Steve.
And I'm a giant big head on a stick. I don't know. Bye.